House, please come to order. As Mistress of Ceremony, it's my honor to welcome you all to the official closing ceremony of the 22nd annual session of GeMUN Model United Nations.
I would like to begin this closing ceremony by giving the floor to the Mistress of Ceremony herself to deliver her speech. Miss Connie, you have the floor.
Okay. Dear guests and participants, good morning. Thanks to all of you for being here. It's a bit surreal to stand before you all today as the Mistress of Ceremony of this GeMUN 2025, because once upon a time I was sitting there. I remember what it was like to sit in your seats and the hard work that goes into preparing for these conferences. But more than that, I remember what it was like to dream to look up at those standing on this stage and wonder if I would ever get the chance to be here. I still remember my second year at GeMUN when I applied to become an admin member. I put in all my effort, I hope with all my heart, and I wasn't selected. At that moment, I felt like I had failed. I questioned myself. I wondered if I wasn't good enough. But looking back, I realized that it was just one step in my journey, not the end of it. That moment of disappointment didn't define me. It pushed me to work harder, to learn, to grow. And today, I stand here not despite the experience, but because of it. So, if there is one thing that I hope you take away from this conference, beyond the debates, the resolution, and the friendships, is this: never stop believing in yourself. Even when things don't go as planned, even when doors seem to close, keep going. Keep working, keep dreaming, because you never know where your journey might take you. GeMUN is not just a conference, it's an opportunity to grow, to challenge yourself, and to realize that you are capable of more than you think. So make the most of it, embrace every experience, and remember, this is just the beginning. I hope that all of you always remember how much this project is worth and how grateful you should be to be here, with the opportunity to take part in it every year. Now, I would like to express my gratitude to those who truly deserve it. Thank you, Emma, for giving me the opportunity to take on this role, and above all, for believing in my potential when even I didn't. Thank you also for allowing me to give this speech today, once again showing me how much you care. Thank you to Age, Serena, and Sofia for always having the right advice and for helping me every time I had a problem, or simply when I had no idea how to use a computer. I honestly don't know what it would be without you. A special thanks to Sasha, my seatmate, my right-hand person, and the one with whom I have shared some of my most important challenges. I would also like to thank some of the most important people in my life whom this school has given me the opportunity to meet: Andrew, Ari, Bea, B, Fra, Gaia, Jean, Luca, Marta, Sole, Ela, and Fra. Thank you for always being by my side and for putting up with me throughout these 5 years, which are now coming to an end. I cannot even begin to imagine what it will be like not to have you in my daily life anymore. Thank you, Mr. Lozada Cabruja, for always being there when I needed you and for putting up with me every Friday afternoon. Finally, I want to thank the most important person in this journey, Mr. Orlando, a poor and special soul, a rare kind of person who had supported me in my struggles, believed in me when I didn't believe in myself, and most importantly, defended me even after the mistakes I made. I also want to take a moment to thank someone who could not be here today, but whom I know truly want to be. Thank you, Sassi. You are the sunshine of our days. Never lose your kindness, and you're a irreplaceable soul. In closing, I want to once again express my deepest gratitude to everyone involved in making this Model United Nations Conference an unforgettable experience. And now, for the last time, I leave the podium to Emma Christensen. Thank you.
Thank you, Viola, for your kind words. You may now proceed with your duties.
Thank you, Emma. It's now my pleasure to give the floor to one of the MUN director, Mr. Daniel Orlando. Mr. Director, you have the floor.
Ladies, gentlemen, and every gender that absolutely exists, good afternoon. As we stand at the intersection of what has been and what is yet to come, it is with utmost pride and, let me tell you, absolute relief that I welcome you to the final act of GeMUN 2025. My thank you list is way too long, so unless you're on my blacklist, which I'm sure you will know, please remember that I'm very grateful. What you have done here, the arguments you crafted, the compromises you reached, the lessons you learned, doesn't simply disappear. It becomes part of who you are in ways that you cannot yet see. And now, as this experience shifts from present into memory, we must ask ourselves, what will remain? Time present and time past are both perhaps present in time future, and time future contained in time past. In this moment in T.S. Eliot's poem Burnt Norton, time collapses upon itself. These lines remind us that the past is never truly gone. It lingers, shaping the present and echoing into the future. It's not simply a linear progression, but a cyclical force intertwining moments, lessons, and consequences. Mark Twain once said, "History doesn't repeat itself, but it often rhymes." And today, we find ourselves in a verse eerily similar to those we once vowed to never write again. We need only look around us to hear that rhyme. The themes of oppression, nationalism, the erosion of rights, which we hoped were relics of the past, have resurfaced in our time. Dystopian fiction that once seemed like a warning has become a mirror, reflecting the faces of today's world leaders who flirt with authoritarianism, disguise reactionary ideology as tradition, incite division, build walls instead of bridges, roll back progress under the guise of order. It's horrifying that we have to fight our own governments to protect our basic rights as human beings. It's no coincidence that these leaders seek to control the narrative, to rewrite history, to silence dissent. George Orwell's 1984 warned us, who controls the past controls the future. Who controls the present controls the past. Today, this is not fiction. We see it happening in real time, whether in book bans, the cuts to education funding, state-controlled media, social media algorithms that push propaganda, drowning out the truth. We see it in the silencing of journalists, the criminalization of protests, the tightening grip on personal freedoms under the pretense of national security. We see it in the policies that strip away the rights from women, the LGBTQIA+ community, immigrants, the marginalized at large, piece by piece, until we're left wondering how it happened so fast, how we didn't see it coming. But we did. The warnings have been loud and clear, written in history books and novels, painted in murals of resistance, sung in protest songs, and still, too many looked away. And for all of their differences, these leaders share one fundamental tactic: fear. Fear is their greatest weapon. They tell us undocumented immigrants and not corporate greed is threatening the economy. They claim that trans people, not billionaires hoarding wealth, endanger society. They manufacture a generational war, convincing young people that they must save the world from the failures of the past, while making older generations believe that the youth are entitled and ungrateful. It's all a lie. The truth is that we need each other, and we always have. And yet, that is exactly what they want us to do. They want us to feel powerless, divided, cynical, because sowing despair is how fascists win. They convince us that change is impossible so that we don't even try. They convince us that we are isolated so that we don't fight back. So let's stop being quiet and help me scream, "Fuck you, Donald Trump," and fuck you all of your fascist friends that seek to strip us of our dignity, our autonomy, our very humanity. This isn't just an expletive, it's a declaration, a rejection of the forces of fascism and bigotry. And please, we must call... Please remember, we always must call things by their name. Fascism is fascism, no matter how polished the suit or how charismatic the speech. This is a battle cry to remind us that the time for silence is over, because silence is complicity, and history has taught us what happens when people look away. But the battle doesn't end with expletives. If we truly want to fight back, we must arm ourselves, not with weapons, but with knowledge. Education remains the most powerful tool. If history rhymes, then it is through studying history that we learn to compose a different verse. Literature, philosophy, critical thinking help us recognize and dismantle oppression. The past teaches us not to resign to inevitability, but to recognize the inflection points where action is possible. It teaches us that democracy is not just a system of government, but a responsibility that must be tended to with vigilance. Without education, we're easily led, fooled, controlled, but with it, we're powerful. We study so that we may resist. We study so that we may change the future. Because this is not the first dark moment in history, and every time, people have come together to resist. Books remind us that others have felt what we feel, that others have fought the battles that we now fight, that resistance is a thread woven through history, and that we are part of something much, much greater than ourselves. When I feel lost, I find solace in the last few pages of my favorite book, The Catcher in the Rye. Among other things, you'll find that you're not the first person who was ever confused and frightened and even sickened by human behavior. You're by no means alone on that score. You'll be excited and stimulated to know that many, many men have been just as troubled morally and spiritually as you are right now. Happily, some of them kept records of their troubles, and you will learn from them if you want to. Just as someday, if you have something to offer, someone will learn something from you. It's a beautiful reciprocal arrangement. And it isn't education, it's history, it's poetry. Even in the darkest moments, we are not alone. So what we really have to do now is to find our way back to each other. The only way we can fix this is together. So we must come to realize that your problem is my problem, because injustice anywhere is injustice everywhere. So just imagine what we could do together. Let's take up the challenge of our time. Let's learn, fight, and never surrender to despair. Let's write a future where history doesn't rhyme with oppression and tyranny, but with justice, compassion, and hope. The past is with us, yes, but so is the future, and it is our duty to write it. And as I stand here today, my heart is filled with pride and hope, because I see all of you beautiful young faces and souls, because I see my students, and the brightest ray of hope comes from you, my students in the final year, just a few months away from your big graduation day. I know that the past few years have been brutal to you. You have grown up in a world at war through pandemics, inflation, censorship, a world that's boiling, a world that demands you perform, but discourages you from thinking. You have lost moments and opportunities that should have defined your youth. But you don't give up. You march, you organize, you fight, you resist, and that gives me hope. Because there is still time to change our rhyme. You stand on the edge of a world that has always been waiting for you, a world that now you will walk through in your own way. Up until now, others have held your hand, guided your steps with the quiet hope that you will find your way. But now that time has come. It always does, when you must take that path as yours. There is a bittersweet beauty in these moments, in the way time moves forward, no matter how much we wish to hold it still. You have grown, changed, become something new, and yet you carry with you every version of yourselves, every laughter-filled day in class, every late-night conversation on a school trip, every challenge that made you stronger. The past doesn't disappear. It lingers in the choices you make and in the dreams that you chase, in the way you move through in the world. So now go. Go at your own pace. Make mistakes, take risks, follow your heart even when the road ahead is unclear. Because the future belongs to you, and though those who love you must watch you from a distance, we and I will always be here, hoping, trusting, and believing in you. Because this is how it was always meant to be. Your journey in your own way. It's so silly of me to be this emotional right now, because my favorite book, The Catcher in the Rye, had warned me. Don't ever tell anybody anything. If you do, you start missing everybody. And I guess I said too much then, because I'm going to miss you terribly. Thank you for our past, and best of luck for your future. Thank you, Sassi. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. I yield the floor back to the Mistress of Ceremony.
Thank you, Mr. Orlando, for your amazing speech. I would like now to give the floor to one of our Undersecretary General of GeMUN 2025, Alge Tigrino. Mr. Tigrino, you have the floor.
Dear guests and participants, good afternoon. My name is Alge Tigrino. I am 18 years old, and I am honored to have served this year as Undersecretary General during this 22nd session of GeMUN. Needless to say, I am attending my last year at Liceo Linguistico, Grazia, Deledda, which directly means that this is the last GeMUN session I have been able to attend as a working participant. This is the last time I will ever stand on this podium in this room, speaking to all of you, and with all my beloved co-workers sat by my side. However, as sad as I may feel at the thought of saying goodbye to GeMUN forever, I would like you all to be aware that I'm standing here delivering my last speech with nothing but joy and complete satisfaction elbowing in my heart. It is inevitable, after all, not to feel immensely proud at the sight of such a complex and beautiful event coming to life before one's eyes, especially while acknowledging the immensity of the effort behind its full accomplishment. As all my other fellow members of the Secretariat did, I have watched the preparations for this year's conference unfold throughout the course of this month with more attention than usual, with a care, apprehension, and dedication that I, myself, had rarely put into anything else in my life before. It is clear to me now that the extreme attention to detail, the restless hours spent organizing and planning, and the effort put in coming up with the best initiatives and innovative ideas were all just a concrete manifestation of our love and attachment towards this conference, towards all its best moments and its duller ones, towards the people it brings together, and the concepts and dynamics it allows us to discover. GeMUN is first and foremost an experience, and as such it requires for its participants to go on a journey from the first to the last day of the conference, from a session to another, and for me, a journey from the clueless young delegate I was years ago to the person I am today, standing here in front of all of you. I have never, as far as I can recall, felt like I was unable to speak or to express myself until now regarding our award. its never-changing patterns and its ever-changing dynamics. And because of that, I have been more than content to serve as a delegate at the beginning of my GeMUN journey. However, I soon realized that what I was truly looking for was a challenge, a way to push myself beyond my personal limits when it came to my patience, my determination, and most of all, my willingness to take responsibility. As I am sure all the officers that are present here today would gladly confirm, chairing a conference is way more of a challenge than it may seem, as it requires preparation, firmness, and reactivity alike. But all efforts are vain if we neglect the most relevant and unforgettable factor of all, which is cooperation. And the greatest proof of how much this kind of cooperation is necessary was given to me by my fellow members of the Secretariat. We have worked hard, we have faced our times, we accomplished each one of our tasks, and all of it we have done together as a team. And I could not be prouder of that, guys. Thank you all. So thank you, Emma, Sofia, Sasha, Serena, and Viola Kine, and Sarah, who sadly cannot be here physically today, but who is still here with us every day, for standing beside me as a co-workers, but most of all as true and real friends. And of course, thank you, Professor Orlando and Professor Lozada, for your tireless efforts as MUN directors, and for reminding us that even the most strong-willed, talented, and creative young minds still need someone to guide them once in a while. Needless to say, I owe you everything, as much as this whole conference does. There are many other people that deserve recognition and gratefulness from me right now for making me the person I am today, but I feel like I could never succeed in naming them all. So what I will do is thank all of you for being here today, regardless of what GeMUN means to you. If it is a challenge, an opportunity, or if you still need time to figure it out, it does not matter. Find your own meaning, and I promise everything will be all right in the end. Thank you all. I yield the floor back to the Minister of Training.
Thank you, Ajay, for your speech. It's now my honor to give the floor to the other Undersecretary General, Ms. Sofia Saccone. Ms. Undersecretary General, you have the floor.
Dear guests and participants, good afternoon. My name is Sofia Saccone, and it's been an absolute honor to serve as Undersecretary General for this 22nd session of GeMUN, alongside this incredible Secretariat. There's so much I want to say and so many people I want to thank. However, knowing myself, I might get emotional, so I'll try to keep this short. 4 years ago, my journey with GeMUN began as a sort of an experiment. I never imagined I would be able to stand up on a podium and speak into a microphone. Yet, here I am. Back then, I was afraid to speak up, afraid to make mistakes, and in many ways, afraid to truly live. Those who know me would probably describe me as a pessimist. And maybe they're right, but it wasn't always this way. As a child, I thought the world was beautiful, almost perfect. But as I grow older, life, with all the complexities, started to reveal its less perfect side. I was confronted with injustices, both large and small, and it felt as though the beauty I once saw had been replaced by anger and frustration. I reached a point where I questioned everything. Was something wrong with me, or was it with the world? Eventually, I realized it was both. I am human, full of contradiction, and imperfect, just like the whole world. For a long time, this realization made me feel lost. I was angry, sad, and desperate to find a way to change both myself and the world. And then I found an answer. Not the answer, but my answer. To change something, you must first understand it. That's where GeMUN came in. What started as a personal challenge turned into something much greater. Through GeMUN, I found my voice. I learned to stand up for what I believe in and to analyze the patterns in our society that so many times made me feel lost. Most importantly, I met people like you, people who want to understand our world and are determined to make it better. Before I conclude, I want to take a moment to express my deepest gratitude to some incredible people who have supported me on this journey. To Matilde, one of our admin members, who believed in me even before I believed in myself and encouraged me to participate as a delegate. Thank you. To Sarah, Sere, and Maya, who on a random day of October 2022 decided to embark on this experience with me, and since then have been my anchor. Thank you. To my teacher and to my GeMUN director, Mr. Orlando, who stood by me through every breakdown and taught me lessons that shaped not just my skills, but also my character. Words cannot express my gratitude. To Mr. Lozada, for his guidance throughout these months of preparation. Thank you. To the amazing secretariat by my side today, Visa, Sassi, Aje, Sere, you all a constant source of inspiration, and I've learned so much from our Fridays together. Thank you. Finally, to our incredible Secretary General, Miami, who would not only give me the opportunity to serve as Under Secretary General, but is also my true guiding light, illuminating my path and shaping my vision of the world. Thank you. Seeing all of you here today fills me with hope. Hope that we as young people have the power to shape a brighter future. Hope that my younger self was right to believe in the beauty of this world. When these 3 days come to an end, don't stop here. Go out, explore the world, dig deeper and understand what lies beneath. Let yourself get angry if you must, but in the end, break the codes, break the patterns. Thank you, GeMUN, for giving me the opportunity to grow, to learn, and to dream again. Thank you to everyone here for reminding me that together we can create a world worth believing in. Thank you. I may now yield the floor for the last time to our Mistress of Ceremony, Viola.
Thank you, Sofia, for your speech. I would now like to invite the four assistants up here on behalf of the entire Secretariat. Thank you for your dedication and hard work in making this conference a success. GeMUN wouldn't be the same without you. It's now my pleasure to give the floor to the President of the General Assembly of GeMUN 2025, Sasha Jonas. Mr. President, the floor is yours.
Dear guests and participants, good afternoon. I'm Sasha Jonas, and I'm honored to have served as the president of the GA in my last GeMUN, alongside my fellow colleague and friend, Serena Boglione. Although I always claim not to be able to cry anymore and the tears just won't come out, I apologize in advance, as I'm sure I might burst into tears today, which is perfectly fine. But before getting emotional, which I already am, the co-president and I would like to sincerely thank all the delegation that have participated in the General Assembly this morning and committed themselves to making the debate extremely efficient and stimulating, tackling the topic in the best way possible and actually breaking the code. The theme of this year's GeMUN conference, Breaking the Code, holds a special meaning for me and my personal life experience. For those who know me, I'm sure you understand why it is important to me to dig deeper into dynamics of even silly discussions so that we can stay united and not compromise our future and our collective sensitivity. What I hope for what's ahead is that one day everyone will be able to express themselves freely, but more importantly, I wish for us to live without being frightened by limitation and imposition beyond our own control. We must not lose our identity and hopes. It was actually time to go beyond patterns, and that's what we all did perfectly in the past 3 days. So thank you again for participating. Here comes the classic emotional endless list of names and thank yous. First of all, I would like to thank our GeMUN directors, Mr. Eduardo Losada Cabruja and Mr. Daniele Orlando, for giving me the opportunity to be part of such an amazing secretariat and for all the exhausting yet incredible work you've done alongside us to make this GeMUN unforgettable. Dear Secretariat, I don't even have the words to express how grateful I am for these past few months of hard work and wonderful memories that I will cherish for the rest of my life. Age, Emma, Sassi, Serena, Sofia, and Viola, thank you for being not only amazing colleagues, but also true friends. Thank you for making me realize that I am indeed enough and that I should be proud of myself for everything I've achieved. Dear Arianna, Bianca, Elisa, Francesca, Ginevra, and Sole, thank you for both putting up with me and supporting me in every choice of my life. Thank you for opening my eyes and standing by my side despite everything. A special thanks goes to Viola, our lovely mistress of ceremony. I'm sure you already know what you mean to me, and you also know that I'm not good with words. So I'm just gonna be boring and say thank you for everything, and that we're stuck together, and don't forget that. Sorry. Last but not least, Mr. Orlando. These past 5 years have been the craziest yet best of my life, and I'm beyond grateful to have had the honor of spending them with you. Not only did you teach me English literature and all that boring stuff, but you also taught me not to lose myself, or better yet, to find myself again in times that I thought were the lowest and darkest of my life. I truly hope you realize how much I and all of us admire you and your work. Thank you all again for participating in this GeMUN 2025. I now yield the floor to the most beautiful mistress of ceremony for the last time.
Thank you, Sasha, for your speech. I will now give the floor to the President of the International Court of Justice of GeMUN 2025, Ms. Ndoye. Ms. Ndoye, the floor is yours.
Honorable Misters of Ceremony, Secretary General, Under-Secretary Generals, MUN Directors, amazing assistants, officers, distinguished guests, esteemed delegates, indispensable members of admin and press, fellow members of the International Court of Justice, good afternoon. My name is Fatou Ndoye, and I'm 18 years old, and I'm currently attending my 5th, and hopefully, last year at Liceo Linguistico Internazionale, Grazia, Deledda. It is an honor to be standing here today in front of all of you. For the past 5 years, GeMUN has been an integral part of my life and my journey, and now here I am serving as the president of ICJ. Now, if I were to ask you directly, what is the first thing you notice about me when you see me? You would probably try to find an alternative answer to what would naturally be the first thing that comes to mind. So I'll say it. I'm black, and God, I love it. I'm perfectly sun-kissed. Admit it, you wouldn't have said it. I don't blame you, though. We went from the extreme of slavery, segregation, and racism, which, mind you, are not eradicated, nor have disappeared, as we can constantly witness, to another extreme, the rhetoric of not seeing colors. Please don't do that. Please see colors, see shades, and appreciate them. It is pure science, melanin, but they hold the story, they hold the culture. Alongside that, I also want you to see injustice, speak up, and act against it. Those who know me also know that I am a rather cynical person, and I know that the world can be a horrible place. We see it every day. I must say that when adults say that we are the future and that we must change things, I get angry. Since when we were kids, we have been taught to own our own mistakes and try to resolve them, but we haven't always had many good role models. We are often demonized. People say, oh, these new generations, always on their phones, lazy, they don't care. We do care. We just wish everybody would stop blaming us for everything, and at the same time, demand that we change things, the things they messed up. It is exhausting. Unfortunately, if we won't do it, nobody else will. So, if we really are those who have to make the world a better place, then I might be a little bit less pessimistic, because my only certainty is that I'm surrounded by amazing people who I put my trust and hope into. It has been incredibly rewarding to take up this role. I must admit that it was something I have been looking forward to for quite a long time. But when it actually became reality, I was petrified at the idea of disappointing those who came before me, the members of the court, myself, and overall just the idea of ruining everything. Luckily, that did not happen. Matilde and I could not have hoped for a better court, because each and every judge and advocate have made us extremely proud for the work, the effort, and the passion they have put into this experience. Thank you, Chiara, Sofia, Beatrice, and Costanza, for being such amazing advocates, for showing up every Friday from 2:30 to 6 p.m., and for caring just as much as I do. This year, I gave you a rather difficult case, and trust me, I have apologized more than a couple of times. But you handled everything with grace, intelligence, passion, and a couple of tears, lots of laughter. And I'm extremely proud. To my amazing judges, I want to say that you have made my last GeMUN an unforgettable experience. Sorry. And you have given us more than a few memes to add to our collection. I would also like to give a special thanks to Chiara, Giorgia, Emma, Betta, and Anna for introducing me to this word and for guiding me through it. Emma, Sara, Sasha, Viola, Age, Sofia, Serena, Bianca, Elisa, Francesca, Mr. Orlando, Mr. Lozada, for putting up with my continuous and certainly appreciated sarcasm every Friday in GeMUN office. But most of all, I'm grateful for having able to do this with Matilde and Lucia, who have supported me and were able to stand me through my slightly hysterical rantings and for never judging me. It was the greatest honor to share this experience with you. Thank you. I would now like to read to all of you the verdict of this year's case. The International Court of Justice, after due deliberation regarding the application by the State of Palestine in the proceedings of the relocation of the United States Embassy to Jerusalem, Palestine versus United States, declares the applicant party as the winning party, with 13 votes in favor and 4 against. Whereas the party stipulated to the following facts. The United States of America will hereinafter be referred to as US or America. The State of Palestine will hereinafter be also referred to as Palestine. The US Embassy in Jerusalem was designated as a diplomatic mission under the Vienna Convention on Diplomatic Relations. The sending state in the present case is the United States of America. The receiving state in the present case is the State of Israel. The events which occurred and are currently taking place in Palestine and Israel are not to be considered during the discussion of this case, which regards matters prior to December 2018. The General Assembly decided to recognize Palestine as a non-member permanent observer state. The State of Israel will hereinafter be also referred to as Israel. The court makes the following findings of fact and/or law. Whereas the legal principle of state sovereignty cannot be invoked in territories which are not de jure property of the state, whereas Jerusalem is to be considered as a corpus separatum and not a part of Israel, whereas Resolution 252, 476, 478 of the Security Council are to be considered legally binding under Article 25 of the Charter of the United Nations by all member states of the UN, whereas the US failed to respect the principle of non-recognition by acknowledging Jerusalem as Israel's capital. Therefore, the International Court of Justice adjudges and decrees that Israel cannot exercise state sovereignty on the territory defined as corpus separatum of Jerusalem. The United States has breached Article 3, Paragraph 1 of the Vienna Convention on Diplomatic Relations. The United States has breached Article 21, Paragraph 1 of the Vienna Convention on Diplomatic Relations. The United Nations has breached Article 41, Paragraph 3 of the Vienna Convention on Diplomatic Relations. The United States' relocation of its embassy in Jerusalem is not lawful and not in compliance with international law. After looking at the evidence provided by both the applicant and the responding parties, the following measures should be put forward in order. That the United States must comply to all Security Council resolutions regarding the matter of the Holy City of Jerusalem. and that the Embassy of the United States situated in Jerusalem will be relocated in Tel Aviv, the lawful capital of the State of Israel. And that Israel, in accordance with the United Nations, will willingly cooperate along with the United States in the relocation of the embassy within Israel's sovereign territory. And that the United States shall admit that the Palestinian application submitted to the International Court of Justice was based on a legitimate concern regarding an alleged legal violation of the Vienna Convention on Diplomatic Relations, thus not representing an attempt to politicize the court's proceedings. And that both parties may interpellate the court for any further issues falling under the jurisdiction of the International Court of Justice. Thank you. And now I would like to call Matilde and Lucia here on the floor to give out the awards.
It is with great honor that I announce that the award for Best Judge goes to Judge De Marchi.
And now I'm proud to announce the honorable mentions that go to Judge Garbarino, Judge Socchino, Judge Pellegrin, and Judge Benigni. Congratulations, and congratulations, of course, to all the other incredible judges of our incredible court. Thank you.
And lastly, I would like to give out the award for Best Advocate, which goes to Advocate Barbiero. Thank you very much. We yield the floor back to the amazing Mistress of Ceremony.
Thank you. We will now entertain the Honorable Mention Awards for each committee. I would like to call the chairs of SOCUM, ECOFIN, Legal, UNHRC, UNESCO, and Security Council committees to give out the awards in this order. Thank you.
Dear delegates, we're all very proud of the work of each delegate in our committee. However, there are 3 delegates that really stood out from the other for their participation and preparation. And these delegations are Libya. Please stand up. Israel. And Switzerland.
Thank you. The chairs of ECOFIN, you have the floor.
Good afternoon, everyone. We, as the chairs of the ECOFIN committee, we would like to thank all the delegates, all the admins, everyone who participated. Thank you very much. The honorable mentions are for the delegation of Kenya, the delegation of Czechia, and the delegation of Côte d'Ivoire. Thank you very much. We're really honored.
Thank you, chairs. I would like to call the chairs of Legal.
Good afternoon, everybody. Firstly, I would like to thank the Secretariat and my friends, because I'm a bit emotional. I'm sorry. And without wasting any time, I would like to announce the honorable mentions of legal, which are Somalia, UK, and Italy. I would also like to thank all the delegates that worked really hard during these days. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much. UNHRC, you have the floor.
Honorable Mistress of Ceremony, members of Secretariat, distinguished guests, hardworking admin and press, fellow colleagues, and dear delegates. I'm Anita Parodi, and I'm one of the chairs of the United Nations Human Rights Council. And I'm honored to be here and mention the 3 delegates who have stood out the most during these 3 days. I must say that all delegates have been crucial in order to make each debate we have entertained fruitful, inspiring, and interesting. But we had to pick 3, and those 3 are China, Somalia, and Iran. Well done, delegates. The debate wouldn't have been the same without you. Thank you.
Thank you. UNESCO, you have the floor.
We just want to thank all the delegates and UNESCO for making it such a great, a memorable and such a great conference that we'll all not forget. But the 3 delegates that we had to choose is Bangladesh, the United Kingdom, and the European Union. Thank you all for making such a great conference.
Thank you so much. And the last one, but not least, Security Council. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Viola. Dear participants and guests, good afternoon. My name is Martina Bocerani, and it was an honor and a privilege to serve as main president of the Security Council alongside Giovanni, Carlotta, and Cora during this GeMUN annual session. We fruitfully debated and voted amazing clauses. And I wanted to thank personally of the people who took an active part in this committee's work. Even though every delegate worked really hard and everyone showed extreme effort, some of you really stood out during these days of debate. So it's a great pleasure to announce the 3 honorable mentions of this year's Security Council, which are Republic of Korea, China, and Somalia.
Thank you so much. It's now my pleasure to give the floor to the head of admin of GeMUN 2025, Matilde Foti, Elena Grasso, and Samuele Prustaglia. You have the floor.
Dear guests and participants, good afternoon. We don't have much time, so let's be quick. I am Matilde Foti, a fourth-year student at Liceo Deledda, and it has been an immense honor to serve as head of admin for this edition of GeMUN. I want to express my sincere gratitude to the incredible individuals who shared this journey with me. A heartfelt thank you to the MUN directors, Daniele Orlando and Eduardo Lozada. Without you, none of this would have been possible. A special thank you also goes to Elena and Samuele for sharing these months of hard work with me. Moreover, a big thank you goes to a wonderful and sweet Secretary General, Emma Christensen. Your support helped shape the person I am today. Lastly, my deepest appreciation goes to Petra, head of press, who has been by my side since our very first steps in this organization, making this journey even more meaningful. I joined GeMUN in my first year at Deledda, and from that moment has been extraordinary. There have been highs and lows, but never once did I consider stepping away. Before high school, people often told me I had great potential, but I struggled to believe it. GeMUN changed that. It helped me grow, gain confidence, and become part of something greater. Today, I stand here knowing what I'm capable of, and more importantly, knowing I have people by my side. To everyone who has been part of this journey, thank you. To those just beginning theirs, embrace every challenge, every late afternoon spent working, and even every moment of self-doubt, because in the end, it is all worth it. This experience is more than a conference, it is a family and a stepping stone to something even greater. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Samuele Frustaglia. Today, as we stand here closing another incredible chapter of GeMUN, I would like to take a moment to reflect on the journey we have made together. It has been 2 years since I had the honor of being head of admin, and I can say with certainty that this experience has been both challenging and rewarding. When I began this journey, I knew it would be a challenge. Coordinating the behind the scenes of such a complex event, ensuring that every detail was taken care of, and most importantly, making sure everyone felt safe and supported. But what I perhaps didn't anticipate was how enriching this experience would be, not only organizationally, but also personally. I have seen how GeMUN is not just an event, but a community. This is not just about simulating the United Nations, but about learning to work together, to respect each other, to support each other. Over these 2 years, I have learned that our work behind the scenes is crucial, not only to the success of the conference, but to the experience of every single person who attends it. So I want to thank each and every one of you, to my fellow admins, to the delegates. Your passion and enthusiasm are the reason why we do what we do. GeMUN is an experience that leaves its mark, and I'm proud to have been part of this story. My journey as head of admin comes to an end, but I know that the spirit of this incredible conference will continue to live through each of us. A final thanks goes to MUN Director, to Mr. Lozada, that supported me and bore with me, and to Prof. Orlando, I only want to say one thing. Oh, Captain, my Captain. Thank you all.
I'm Elena Grazia, and I'm attending my 5th and last year at Liceo Deledda, and I had the honor to serve you as one of the head of admin. Last year, I decided to go against my anxieties and paranoids, and I proposed myself as the head of admin. I got this role, and I couldn't be happier. Although we faced a lot of challenges throughout the year, we always came out stronger. It's not easy to say goodbye to a role that gave me so much, but above all, it's not easy to say goodbye to all of you. Each of you left an indelible mark on me. This role gave me the great opportunity to meet and know better new amazing people. We learned how to work together, even if it was not always easy. Time will take us into different directions, but a part of you will always stay with me, and I remember these moments spent with you as the best of my high school years. Now I would like to express my gratitude to some people that were indispensable for me in this journey and in my life in general. First, I want to express my deepest thanks to everyone who contributed in making this event such an important occasion, from my fellow members of admin to the indispensable members of press, which had been working hard. We had always been behind the scenes, organized every detail of GeMUN, and watching you having fun, discussing your resolution clauses and the ICJ case with such enthusiasm was greatest pleasure for us. We were always there for you, and we were delighted to do so. Secondly, I wanted to thank my colleagues Matilde Foti and Samuele Frustaglia. They were indispensable for me, both in my personal growth and obviously in organizing GeMUN. Moreover, a heartfelt thank you goes to our MUN directors, Prof. Lozada and Prof. Orlando, without whom all of this would have not been possible. My last but not least thank you goes to Martina, Gabriel, and Marco, who have taught me, supported me, and stood by me in the most difficult moments. As I said, sorry. As I said before, this was my last GeMUN as a head of admin. This breaks my heart, but I'm sure you will find someone who will do this job at their best next year. Your faithfully, Elena. And last but not least, the best admin of this GeMUN session was Stefano Tiro. And we would like to thank Matilde and Matilde Cocurullo and Annalisa Sponga for their work. I give the floor back to our beautiful mistress of ceremony, Viola Coni. Thank you.
Thank you. We will now entertain the Best Press Award. I would like to call the head of press to give out the award. Press, you have the floor.
All people present here today, good afternoon. We're honored to mention the best member of press of GeMUN 2025, Elena Mandarini.
Thank you all. I give the floor back to the chair.
Thank you. It's now my pleasure to give back the floor to the Secretary General of GeMUN 2025, Emma Christensen. Emma, you have the floor.
Good afternoon to you all. As most of you might know by now, I'm Emma Christensen, and it has been my deep honor to serve as Secretary General of GeMUN 2025. Before I begin with my speech, I want to try and make sure that everyone deserving of it gets their own personal greeting and demonstration of gratitude. Therefore, I want to thank all members of admin and press, all delegates and officers, all authorities and guests, all students and teachers for your efforts and presence throughout these 3 days. It has been the most incredible and fulfilling experience of my life, and I believe it has been the same for many others as well. I'm usually a person of positive perspectives and outlook on the world. However, I recently went through many moments where by looking at the latest news around the world, scrolling on social media, and talking with people in my life, I found myself feeling helpless and completely alone, fighting battles against I can't even remember who or what. At some point in my life, that battle was against my own thoughts, then climate change, then women's rights, then the Palestinian cause. At some point throughout my journey, though, I realized that all these elements were strictly connected amongst each other. That's what I think about when I read Never-Changing Patterns in our subtitle for this year's theme. Our lives, just like society, are one big development of ever-changing dynamics, which we can only control to a certain extent, and I know that for me that has always been a difficult realization to digest. What I've always wanted for my quote-unquote edition of GeMUN was for it to be a moment and space for everybody to be hopeful that change can in fact happen, because if all of us showed up here today, that must be because we care. Now, my invitation for all of you is to take this investment and this excitement that you have shown these past 3 days and to continue presenting it with pride to the whole world. I've been teased a lot these past few days, saying that I look at ease and in my full comfort zone with a microphone in hand and a crowd of even just 3 people listening to me. To that, I reply that I wish I had over an hour to deliver this speech, because then I would be able to talk to you about the need to advocate for queer youth, or how there's truly never enough representation of any kind of diversity, or how we need to work on gaining back a sense of society as a team against injustices and for equity, and not a group of people building walls, both physically, verbally, and emotionally, between each other. I wish I had more time to speak to you about of all of what my youthful eyes see and to describe to you through which lenses I see the world. I wish I had more time to tell you even just half of the inspiring things that all these young people have told me throughout these conference days. I wish I had more time to speak. I wish I had more time to savor this moment. I so wish. Please, everybody, keep wishing and working towards your dream, and let these dreams contain positive goals for the world around you, regardless of the context you live in and operate in. Please keep the dream of a good world alive. Never let that flame die out. I want to end this speech by saying thank you in an unusual way and allow myself to be extremely vulnerable in front of you. On this exact day, 4 years ago, I wrote a much-dreaded and much-awaited letter, saying a definite goodbye to all the people in my life, a little paragraph written for each of my loved ones. I was ready to go. Little did I know what I would have missed, that if that letter were to be seen by all of them, the best chapter of my life wouldn't have been written. There wouldn't have been a whole paragraph saying goodbye to Lucia, Age, Pietro, and Emanuele, who are the best friends I could have ever asked for. I wouldn't have thanked Serena, Sasha, Viola, and Sara, who are the most supportive, kind, and funny people I have ever had the pleasure to work with and befriend. I wouldn't have thanked Keen and Matilde to coming back into my life. There wouldn't have been any acknowledgement for Prof. Lozada and Prof. Orlando, who, though in very different ways, are the people that sought for and supported my growth more than anybody else, all throughout my best and worst moments, even when I wasn't sure I was fit to take on this role and the responsibility of making all of this happen for all of you 550 brilliant people. But most importantly, there wouldn't have been a whole page dedicated to Sofia, whom I now want to speak to directly. You have been the greatest partner in work and in life that I could have ever asked for, and I don't think any language has good enough words to express both my gratitude and my love for you. You taught me lessons that I now cherish and carry with me all day, every day. You rebuilt my sense of trust and hope in people and the world, which are now back to being the most important component of my identity as a human being in all the things I do in my life, from my MUN career all the way through my personal life path. You have shown me lenses through which I can look at the world that I had never even fathomed. By breaking the code for my heart, you opened a path for all of this to happen, and these people should look up to you as much as I do, and as they might look up to me from my current apex. I want to conclude by looking out at this crowd and taking it all in. Hopefully, a younger version of me can be hidden amongst you, just like I was 2 years ago listening to Prof. Orlando's speech, or 3 years ago listening to Prof. Lozada's speech. To all the people from Liceo Deledda, thank you for helping me make this happen. And to all others, thank you for engaging and taking part in this wonderful project. It's been quite a journey, but now I think we can give ourselves, the Secretariat, and as much as every single one of you present here, a big round of applause. Thank you. It's now the saddest moment of the conference. I hope it can be said for all people coming from abroad, I know this moment is sad for everybody from Deledda. Thank you again for coming, everybody, and for making this possible, and for making it possible in the best way possible. I'm now sad to announce that this moment concludes the 22nd edition of GeMUN Model United Nation.
I would like to once more thank everyone who joined us today, and I would like to wish all officers, delegates, MUN directors, admin members, and all others all our best wishes. And with that, this concludes the official closing ceremony of the 22nd annual session of GeMUN Model United Nations.